You don't have a money problem, you have a consistency problem. If you followed one clear structure for the next 6 months, your finances would finally feel stable and actually start to grow. It won't magically happen overnight, but it will steadily compound over time. However, most people usually repeat the same cycle. They budget for a few weeks, they automate for a month, they cut back and feel disciplined. But then something small disrupts it, and instead of adjusting within the system, they reset everything and start back at zero. They convince themselves they just need better tools or a slightly better plan this time around. And for a moment, it feels productive, but it's still a reset, and every reset kills your momentum. So let's explore what actually works. 6 months in order without restarting. I'm going to walk you through exactly what each month should focus on and what to watch out for along the way. Because once you understand the pitfalls, you'll stop repeating them. And it all starts with something most people quietly avoid. Most people think they know where their money goes, but they really don't. They know the big pieces: rent, salary, maybe groceries, but they don't really see the pattern. And without seeing the pattern, you're making decisions based on assumptions. When you sit down and manually go through the last 30 days of your transactions, something shifts. You start noticing repetition. You notice how convenience wins. You notice categories that feel small in isolation, but heavy in aggregate. That moment can feel uncomfortable, but that discomfort is power. The first month isn't about slashing your lifestyle. It's about removing denial. Because if you build a financial system on vague awareness, you'll always drift back to your defaults. So open your account, go line by line through the last month. Categorize it yourself once. Identify your 3 largest spending categories. Don't fix anything yet, just see everything clearly. Clarity changes behavior more reliably than guilt ever will. And once you actually start noticing the numbers, the next step becomes very obvious. After month 1, you'll probably feel motivated. Awareness creates energy. You'll think, okay, now I'm going to be more disciplined. That's where most people start to rely on willpower. But willpower is unreliable, people. It works when you're calm and focused. However, it collapses when you're stressed, tired, or distracted. If your savings depend on you deciding correctly every single month, eventually that will break. So instead of relying on discipline, you remove that decision entirely. Automate your decisions. When your paycheck hits, a fixed percentage should move immediately before you have time to renegotiate with yourself. There's something psychologically powerful about that shift. You stop being someone who's trying to save and you become someone who lets their systems do the work for them. Choose a percentage that stretches you slightly but is sustainable. Fix the date and don't revisit it the next month just because something feels tight. Every time you renegotiate the rule, you weaken the structure. Now you have awareness and you have automation. This is where most people think they're all set, but this is also where many people quietly fall off. Around the 3rd month, something subtle happens. Nothing dramatic has shifted yet. Your savings account is a little bit higher, your spending is a little cleaner, but it doesn't feel life-changing yet. Novelty fades, and that's dangerous because your brain starts asking whether this is even working at all. This is when people begin adjusting. They loosen the percentage slightly, they skip one transfer because it's been a tight month, they tell themselves they'll make it up later. That tiny break in structure slowly expands and kills future gains. You have to expect this dip. 6 months of progress doesn't feel powerful in month 3. It feels boring. Boredom is not a sign that it's failing, it's a sign that it's stabilizing. If you can push through this stretch without redesigning everything, momentum compounds quickly. And that's why month 3 matters. Over time, expenses accumulate quietly. Not because you're irresponsible, but because life evolves. You sign up for something that makes sense at the time. You upgrade something small. You forget to cancel something you meant to review. Recurring expenses slowly become invisible. This month is about proving that your structure is intentional. Review your recurring payments and cancel one expense that no longer meaningfully improves your life. Just one. The dollar amount matters less than the actual act. You're reminding yourself that you're in control of the system and not just passively drifting inside it. Small structural adjustments prevent lifestyle inflation from quietly expanding without you noticing. Now that your base is cleaner, it will help you make the next step even more powerful. There's only so much you can optimize before it starts to feel restrictive, but increasing your income changes the entire equation. The reason people delay this isn't laziness, it's discomfort. Asking for more exposes you to rejection. Just remember that with every rejection, there's a learning opportunity. It can feel safer to tweak expenses than to increase your value. But if your income hasn't moved in the last couple of years, that's likely the bottleneck here. This month, take one upward action. Prepare for a raise conversation. Apply for a higher paying role. Develop a skill that increases your leverage. Take on responsibility that positions you for growth. You don't need a dramatic overhaul, you just need one meaningful move. When income rises, the same savings rate produces larger outcomes. The same investments compound faster. Your anxieties and pressure will decrease. But even with the higher income, there's still something that can quietly unravel progress. Let's take a look. Impulse spending rarely feels reckless. It feels earned. It feels justified. It feels small. And individually, it is small. The issue isn't one purchase, it's repetition over time. So instead of restricting yourself harshly, introduce time into the equation. For non-essential purchases, implement a 72-hour pause. That delay separates emotion from decision. Most purchases lose urgency after a few days, and the ones that don't, you approach them more calmly and deliberately. This step isn't about frugality, it's about control. However, you can only control so much and life can still be unpredictable. So let's talk about what to do when life inevitably happens. During these 6 months, you will overspend 1 month. You will forget a transfer once. You'll break your own rule at some point in time. However, that doesn't mean the system failed. The difference between people who build stability and people who keep restarting is how they respond when they regress. One mistake becomes, I ruined it, which turns into a full-blown reset. Or that becomes, that happened, let me learn from this, and then return to the set structure. Momentum isn't destroyed by imperfection, it's destroyed by abandonment. Expect imperfection, plan for it, don't dramatize it, stay inside the structure. And if you continually do that for 6 months, something deeper changes. By month 6, the goal isn't intensity anymore. It's stability. This is where you stop adjusting constantly. You choose a simple, diversified structure, you set recurring contributions, and you leave it alone. Not because it's perfect, but because consistency beats constant optimization. At this stage, your job is not to improve the system every week, your job is to protect it from yourself. No reacting to headlines, no chasing trends, no redesigning the plan just because the market moved. Month 6 is proving that you can be consistent. Once you can stay consistent, compounding finally starts doing the heavy lifting. And that's when your money begins to feel different. Let's find out how. After 6 months, your finances won't feel chaotic anymore. They will feel structured. You won't be constantly redesigning your plan, reacting emotionally every month, or be thinking about money all the time. That mental stability is the real win. At that point, you refine rather than restart. You can increase your automation, you can invest more aggressively, you can optimize intentionally, but don't abandon the core principles you've established. The real shift isn't financial, it's actually in your identity. You stop seeing yourself as someone trying to get better with money, and you start seeing yourself as someone who runs a system. And once that identity shifts, behavior becomes easier. So here's what all of this means. Tonight, open your account. Look at the last 30 days. Categorize them once. Don't try to fix anything yet, just see the pattern. Then set a date on your calendar 6 months from today. Your only job between now and that date is don't reset. Don't redesign the plan when it gets boring. Don't loosen the rule when 1 month feels tight. Don't abandon the structure because it's not exciting. Stay consistent because stability isn't built in dramatic weekends. It's built in the ordinary months you don't quit. If this kind of structured thinking is what you've been missing, please subscribe because here we don't chase motivation. We build systems that work. That's your mindful moment. And as always, stay healthy and wealthy.